Well, the Indonesian government has explicitly expressed their view that many countries around the world are at risk of slipping into recession. A recent Bloomberg survey showed that Indonesia is only 3% at risk of entering into a recession. However, many analysts still say that the government needs to take continuous steps to ensure that inflation in Indonesia remains under control. Amid a climate of rising energy costs, rising food costs, higher interest rates, and liquidity tightening, many economists have projected that countries around the world are at risk of slipping into a recession. According to a recent survey, economists believe that there is a 47.5% chance that the United States could enter into a recession within the next 12 months. Meanwhile, economists are also projecting that the Eurozone is at a 45% risk of entering into a recession amid record high inflation and potential gas supply shortages. But amid these recession fears, the Indonesian government is confident that Indonesia's economy can remain resilient. Indonesia's coordinating Minister of Economic Affairs, Erlangga Hartarto, said that Indonesia's economic fundamentals are still strong compared to other regions and countries around the world.
Jadi relatif ekonomi Indonesia bergerak, indeks keyakinan konsumen 128 dan PMI 50,2 karena memang ekspor daripada CPO masih ada hambatan tetapi sudah mulai berjalan sehingga tentu dalam 26 bulan neraca perdagangan kita positif. Tadi kita rapat mengenai pangan, neraca pangan sendiri sampai akhir tahun ini relatif aman termasuk beras dianggap kita punya stok cukup. Nah tentu yang tadi arahan Bapak Presiden yang kita siapkan adalah bagaimana kita mengantisipasi global kan terjadi food shortage dan energy shortage. Nah bagaimana kita tidak terjebak di dalam persoalan-persoalan tersebut. Jadi kita siapkan strategi khusus untuk 2023.
Indeed, a recent survey by Bloomberg showed that there is only a 3% chance that Indonesia could enter into a recession by next year. According to these economists polled, Indonesia's recession risks are comparatively much lower to its neighboring countries like Malaysia, which has a 13% chance, and also China, which has a 20% chance of slipping into a recession next year. Despite this, Indonesian economists like the director of Stelios think tank, Bima Yudhistira, believes that the government still needs to be cautious and ensure that inflation remains under control and ensure that lower income groups can sustain day-to-day living.
Ya, transisinya kan inflasi ini pertama adalah kepada daya beli masyarakat. Tentunya tidak semua kelompok masyarakat, terutama kelompok masyarakat menengah rentan, kemudian orang miskin, itu siap menghadapi inflasi, terutama dari harga pangan secara berlebihan. Kalaupun disuruh berhemat, mereka hampir tidak memiliki aset ataupun tabungan untuk dihemat. Karena selama masa pandemi pun mereka mengalami tekanan yang begitu hebatnya. Nah sekarang yang bisa dilakukan, paling mereka akan mengurangi lagi konsumsinya dan sebagian bisa jatuh di bawah garis kemiskinan.
Although global inflation remains a worrying trend, the Vice President of Economic Research and Strategies of the Development Bank of Singapore, Radhika Rao, believes that Indonesia is not at risk of stagflation as the country's economic growth prospects are still strong.
I think it's too early to say Indonesia is in a stagflationary situation. So now what is stagflation? You essentially see growth that is a bit low, inflation is high, and unemployment rates also tends to go high. I don't think Indonesia is in that kind of a situation at all. In fact, if you see growth has been holding up pretty well in the fourth quarter of last year, first quarter of this year. Even a second quarter number that's going to come out, I think it's going to be around 5%. So that is, by no means has growth slowed down. The reopening boost is still there. Exports are doing well, so because of commodity prices, and that's also filtering through. And investments are also turning around.
Indeed, despite rising inflation, data shows that risk of stagflation remain low in Indonesia. Indonesia's consumer confidence index still remains strong and optimistic, signaling that demand in Indonesia is still at healthy levels despite the recent rise in prices.